Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. Real quick, I want to talk a bit about being gone forever because I have been gone forever and there is a good reason. One of which is my channel's been demonetized. I tried to appeal it. The appeal got denied as well. Didn't really get a reason for why. One of the comments was reused content, which didn't really make sense because everything I do is my own recorded gameplay, my own voiceover. So I wasn't sure what that deal was, and I tried very hard to get like a better explanation. Never got one. And then also my channel got deleted for a bit. That one seemed to be more of an accident than a response to the violation. That was because we were trying to switch it over to a new email. Seems like that caused an issue with YouTube. Channel went deleted for a little bit, got it back, of course. And hopefully we have a better time in the future for this channel because that's been a little rough for a while. But with that being said, let's kind of dig into some really important topics that I'm late to. So number one, I want to talk about Xbox and then also talking about Halo. I actually think I want to start off with talking a little bit about Halo, because in this time that I've been gone, a lot of great Halo news has come out, and obviously it's kind of old at this point too, whereas the Xbox news is still continuing in my opinion. So the Halo news is of course that they did finally announce Halo Combat Evolved Remastered, or as they're calling it, Halo Campaign Evolved. And of course this was not really a secret. Everybody kind of knew that this was coming out. We all suspected it to be what they're going to showcase at the Halo World Championships. There were some people like myself who were hoping for maybe another reveal as well, because we do know that they're working on multiple projects. I personally like the idea of another remaster. However, my main focus, what I'm most excited for, is probably the next chapter of Halo. Now, don't get me wrong, I am excited for Halo Campaign Evolved, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But I do look forward to Halo Fest this year, or this upcoming year, I should say. We're not quite into 2026 yet, because I am hoping that not only will they show more of Halo Campaign Evolved, but also show what other projects are working on themselves, as well as if there's any other studios that are working on projects. You know, that's one thing we did kind of hear from 343 when they switched to Halo Studios, is that they're going to continue to work on games, but also they're opening it more up to other studios. It's not to say other studios haven't worked on the Halo franchise in the past. Even in the 343 era, we had like Creative Assembly making Halo Wars 2, then studios like Certain Affinity, which are known for working on the Halo franchise. So that's not to say that that hasn't been the case in the past, but I believe the idea now is to have more studios actually being more independent in making more games in the Halo universe, which I think is super awesome. However, let's also dig into the reveal of Campaign Evolved, because that was definitely something that I think a lot of people loved and a lot of people hated. And I really want to dig into that. Now, let me just start off by saying I've been a Halo fan forever. I've been playing Halo since Halo 2 was like the newest Halo game out, right? I hopped in on Halo 2, played all of the games, of course. Super fan of Halo. I've literally spent so many hours on multiplayer, campaign, firefight, everything. I am a big fan of Halo, without a doubt. And I want to say there's a lot of people who want to hate anything Halo that is modern day. There's a lot of fans, quote unquote, who want Halo to just disappear. And look, I'm not saying that to be mean in any way. I'm just saying that to kind of point something out, because there's a lot of comments out there that are just overly and ridiculously negative about Halo Campaign Evolved. Is it perfect? No, I don't think the reveal was perfect. There are some parts for concern, such as the art style changing slightly. I think overall they kept it pretty true to the original intent. However, there are some changes which I'm kind of like, I don't know if I really want to go that direction. I think I'd rather stay faithful to the original intent of the developers, but Halo Studios mostly did do that. There is some slight changes that I don't know if I'm going to love, but I also say it's too early to tell. And based off of the reveal, it's 90% there. I think the game looks really great and I'm really excited for it. However, there are plenty of people who are going to complain about it. And I want to really kind of drive this point home and just say, they're never going to win. Like, Halo Studios can never win them all. If they did things completely the same, you'll have people bitching and say, why would you do everything exactly the same? We already have that game. I don't need to play it again. If they do things completely different, you're going to have the opposite criticism, right? What are you doing making everything different? This is going to suck. You guys don't know what you're doing, whatever, right? If you kind of do it in between, you're going to get people who are going to say, pick a side. I'm not saying this to be overly critical of the critics. I'm just trying to highlight something that is literally they could not win no matter what they do. The majority of people probably like this game. That's the honest answer, right? 90% of the people out there, including the fans and the casual market who doesn't really care that much about Halo, but they'll probably pick it up, play it, they're going to be happy with the game. That is, of course, an early prediction because the game's not out yet. But based off what we saw, it seems to be pretty darn good, right? Graphically, it does look amazing. I know a lot of people complain that, well, they have this focus on graphics, but that's not what's important. It's like, yeah, you know what? I absolutely agree. What makes Halo so special isn't always the graphic. However, to deny the fact that Halo, especially in its early days, was really well known for its graphics would be wrong. I mean, the honest answer is Halo 1, Halo 2, especially with the Stencil engine, which obviously didn't make it to launch, but Halo 2 Stencil engine also looked really good. And then Halo 3, I mean, those games that Bungie, the trilogy that Bungie released, were all known to be really good looking games that honestly, in a lot of ways, still hold up today because they were so advanced in their graphics for their time. Graphics isn't the most important thing. I know that. I'm not saying that gameplay isn't more important, because it definitely is, or story, or the environment. All of that stuff that really makes Halo is of course more important than the graphics. But people almost complain that the graphics are good, and I don't get that. If you can have all the other stuff and the graphics looking really good, I don't know the problem with that. I can see some people maybe having a good argument where it's like too photorealistic, it distracts from it or something like that. I don't agree with that opinion, but I can respect it. Versus people who just kind of hate that the graphics look good because they're looking for something to bitch about. To me, that makes no sense. And there's so much bitching about Campaign Evolved that just doesn't make sense to me. I just really feel like there's this group of fans, and trust me, like I said, I've been a fan of this franchise for like ever. This is not something that's new. It doesn't matter if we're talking about some of the more recent games like Halo Infinite or even Halo 5, because I've definitely been around for both of those games. People just want to bitch about Halo. There's a lot of quote unquote fans, and yeah, I'm gonna say quote unquote for a reason, who want the franchise to die, right? They want Halo to only be the Bungie era of Halo, and everything after Bungie era doesn't matter to them. They want it to be dead and gone by then. And look, there's a lot of us, myself included, who look very fondly at the Bungie era of Halo. However, I don't think that that has to be the only era of Halo. I don't think that there's not a future for Halo. I think quite the opposite. I think the future of Halo can be really, really good. And as much as I love early Halo Bungie, the studio that everybody loves, Bungie, has changed quite a lot now and starting to be the studio that everybody hates. That's not to say that criticism of 343 Industries, which of course is now Halo Studio, isn't valid. I've been through this entire time a fan, right? Like ever since Halo 2, Bungie concluding with their final game being Halo Reach, and 343 with their first game being actually Halo Anniversary, and their first, I guess, truly new game, Halo 4. I've been here throughout it all, and there's criticisms that I agree with wholeheartedly. However, there's criticisms I just don't get. And there's also just praying of Halo's downfall that I just completely in the opposition of. I disagree with wanting Halo to fail so much that I just don't even see the point of why people feel that way. And maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just on copium. However, I can be critical. Right now, I'm not really being critical because I don't see the critics being objectively right in this instance. But I can be very critical of Halo Studios, previously 343. I don't know why I feel like I always have to say that. But be very critical of the studio. I can be very critical of Xbox. I can be critical of the games that they came out with. And I will. But at the moment, what we're talking about, the reveal of Halo Campaign Evolved, there's some criticism I have, but it's very, very niche and minute stuff that's not all that important. And everybody who is this strong vocal minority wants you to think that it's like the worst thing ever. And I just don't get it at all. I think this game's going to do very well. I think after it does very well, a lot of those people who were overly critical, not all of them, but I think a lot of them are going to switch up their opinions. And they probably won't admit that they were wrong. They'll probably have an excuse like, oh, I was right back then, but they must have fixed the issues or something along. I'm just spewing out some bullshit real quick, but I do think that is going to be the case where a lot of those people who are just like fucking Halo haters, I don't know any other way to put it. If it is commercially and critically a success, Halo Campaign Evolved that is, then they will switch their opinion up and have some sort of excuse why they switched their opinion. Alright, I've been talking about Halo for a little bit too long because we're already at the 10-minute mark, and I need to talk about Xbox. So, Xbox, doing a lot of crazy shit lately, right? Raising the price on their consoles, making everything in Xbox, right? That's kind of the joke, like, your phone's an Xbox, your PC's an Xbox, everything's an Xbox. And then obviously just not having a lot of confidence in the future of Xbox hardware in the sense of consoles, because Microsoft hasn't really given us any reason to. Sales are down, and instead of us getting any word from Microsoft as like an official statement of, hey, we're in this for the long run, we kind of get more silence than that. Now, don't get me wrong, they've made some statements like, next Xbox is in development. We know that. We know that the next Xbox is going to come out. What we're mostly concerned about is what is Xbox going to be the next 20 years, right? Is that brand going to still be around? Here's my opinion. Xbox is going to be around for a very long time. It's just, what will Xbox be? I believe Xbox is going to continue to produce consoles if the next Xbox is success for the company. Problem is, they're owned by Microsoft. And Microsoft is one of those companies, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of products of Microsoft that I like. But Microsoft is one of those companies that is so big that it's dumb. You know, you get executives who can have something that's making them millions of dollars, and then they'll bitch that it's not making billions of dollars. It's one of those things where they think like opportunity cost is getting destroyed by having this very successful brand, Xbox, that's not generating more profit for them. It's like, no, this isn't a waste of your money. This brand is profitable. It's got very large upside potential for the future. However, a lot of executives, even at these big companies who pay them quite a lot of money, aren't all that smart, in my opinion. I don't know how else to put it. You have these big businesses where their success is also their biggest failures. Executives who see something like a 10-20% profit margin as being too low, wanting it to be even higher, and just not realizing that this brand is successful and profitable. You probably shouldn't fuck it up. But you get executives who don't know anything about gaming or the industry or anything at all, meddling with it and fucking it up because they think they know better, or they think that their money's better spent somewhere else, which 9 times out of 10, that doesn't really work that way. I mean, we've seen Microsoft try and do a lot of different businesses, or break into different industries is a better way to put it, and then kind of fail at it, where they're doing good in this industry. They might not be the most dominant player, right? PlayStation's outselling Xbox in terms of console sales. However, still a dominant player in this industry, and having executives fuck it up because they keep wanting to fuck with what's good to try and squeeze out more profit. And we've had statements from Xbox saying, hey, this is our most profitable year. We're doing so good. And then, of course, layoffs come. And, of course, price hikes on the consoles. And just so many bad decisions that you kind of can't help but think, oh, Microsoft's fucking it up for them. At least that's my opinion. So, again, to really kind of reiterate what I think the future of Xbox is, I really do think Xbox is going to stick around. I just don't know if it's going to be through actual Xbox consoles, or if it's going to be what we all kind of see now, Xbox being cross-platform on PCs, on tablets, on handhelds, on phones, and probably, if it does go this way, on PlayStations, right? If Xbox stops making consoles, they're probably going to try and launch Game Pass on PlayStation if Sony lets them. You know, their business model's changing. For the better, I don't know about that. But their business model seems to be changing. And I don't actually have a problem with like Xbox being cross-platform, right? I like the fact that I can play my games and my save data on my console and go have it completely transfer over to PC. Especially nowadays, I'm more of a PC gamer than anything. I play 99% of the time on my computer. However, I still see the appeal and the importance of having physical Xbox hardware and console, I should say, because technically like Xbox controllers and the new handheld and everything like that is also Xbox hardware. But when I'm talking about future of Xbox hardware, I'm specifically referencing the Xbox consoles. There is going to be a new one. We know that's going to come out. I think they're too far deep in development and investment to not release the next Xbox console. But of course, like we said, big question is there going to be another one after this one, or is this it? So hopefully it does sell good, and hopefully Microsoft backs off and lets Xbox continue to be a successful brand. However, as much as I believe Xbox is going to stick around, I don't know that's going to stick around in the way that we know them today. Anyways, guys, I'm talking for too long. We're about to hit 16 minutes here, so I'm going to wrap this up and just say, really appreciate you guys sticking around. Appreciate you guys watching this video and hopefully welcoming me back, because I've been gone forever and not a fan of that. But absolutely love you guys. Can't wait to make more videos and talk to you guys soon.